Hey, Astro Kids, and welcome back. This is your horoscope for the full moon in Libra on April 26th of 2021. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So this is a full moon, and of course, the full moon is a point of culmination. This is a completion, an ending, a releasing. This is when things are coming full circle. And this is especially true as this is a full moon in the sign of Libra. So the moon and Venus have a neutral relationship. The moon is slightly uncomfortable here in the sign of Libra as the moon is looking for stability. It is looking for security, for comfort. And this sign of Libra is much more flexible. It's able to make negotiations, to make compromises. The moon is slightly uncomfortable here in this sign. But this is happening within the Swati nakshatra, which is all about business dealings, making deals, getting your point across, being flexible in negotiations. And so this is a very much business oriented nakshatra, and this is a very independent one as well. This is symbolized by a small plant growing in the wind. And so we get this breezy energy in this nakshatra, where this is very independent. This is very much going with the flow, doing what it wants to do. Of course, this is coming from the rulership of Rahu over this nakshatra. So this is a very independent one. This is a very business-oriented nakshatra. This is a nakshatra that is always changing and adjusting and being able to make changes based upon getting the negotiating done, getting the contracts done, getting the deal across to others. And so this is an interesting full moon as we come into this nakshatra. This is within the second pada of the Swati nakshatra, which is a Saturn ruled Navamsa. So this is very strict. This is very disciplined. This is about being set in your ways, being very much focused in getting your deal, getting your point across of what you want to get others to agree to. And so this becomes a very controlling, very strict type of energy here, where this is about staying true to what you want to see happen, to what you want to accomplish. And so this lack of flexibility and staying true to the outcome of what you want to achieve, not folding, not changing according to other people's opinions, is very strong coming into this full moon. And this is highly connected to this energy that we've been experiencing here of this creativity, of wanting to move towards a goal, towards an accomplishment. This energy here becoming much more strict and staying true to what you are trying to accomplish, to what you are trying to get done. This is also going to be receiving a ninth aspect from Jupiter. So Jupiter is here in the sign of Aquarius, finally, where Jupiter is much more happy in this very futuristic and rebellious sign that is all about humanity, about research, about forward progress. So Jupiter feels less restricted here in the sign of Aquarius. It has finally left behind this very intense Capricorn energy where this is bringing in a lot of happiness. This is bringing in a lot of forward progress in terms of moving forward, getting things moving in the world. Remember that Jupiter is connected to our beliefs and our structures of the world of humanity as it is a social planet. And so, as Jupiter's here in Aquarius, things are starting to look better. Things are starting to move forward. We're starting to think more in terms of the future, in terms of how can we get things going? How can we change things, get things moving with this Aquarius energy? And as this is making its ninth aspect over to this full moon, this is a very fortunate aspect where this can give you a lot of great results in terms of your desires. Remember that the sign of Aquarius is connected to our desires. It is a Rahu controlled sign, which is connected to our desires, our ambitions, what we want to see in the future, this Aquarian energy. And so, as Jupiter gives its ninth aspect over from Aquarius to this full moon in Libra, this is a great time of working towards the things that you want and seeing the things that you want actually come into existence. Remember that this nakshatra here is symbolized by a growing plant. This is an energy where the things that you have planted are starting to grow. They're starting to come to life in this moment. And Jupiter giving us this vision that this is all coming through, this is all happening now. So, depending upon how Jupiter plays out in your chart, if it is a good planet or a negative planet, this can bring you some great positivity in terms of your goals, of what you want to achieve. Saturn is also giving its 10th aspect over to this full moon. Tremendous in terms of seeing your goals through, seeing the things that you want to accomplish start to come to fruition. Saturn is in its home sign where it feels very comfortable in Capricorn, giving its 10th aspect. Remember that the number 10 is connected to Capricorn, our career, our achievements, our status, how we are seen in the public, our recognition. And so this is a huge time in terms of things that you want to see play out in your life, coming to full completion. And again, for many of you, you're going to see that these things are starting to grow. So we're not necessarily fully there for a lot of us in terms of these goals or achievements that we're trying to accomplish. But you're seeing these little hints of the growth that is taking place. For those of you who have not seen the growth, who have not seen the things that you wanted to come to life, you're starting to see the little results come to the surface with this Saturn energy that's very slow moving. It is very much about getting us to those long term results. And with all of this Saturnian influence and Rahu influence on this full moon, this is very much about our ambitions, our accomplishments, our goals, our future plans, our status, what we are trying to achieve. This is also receiving an aspect from the sun. Of course, the sun is always going to be opposite to the moon during a full moon. But along with this, remember that we have a huge stellium going on in the sign of Aries. We have the sun, Uranus, Venus, and Mercury all in the sign of Aries, where this is a very sporadic energy. This is a very impulsive energy as all of this is going on in Aries. We talked a lot about this with Mercury's transit in Aries and with Mars in Gemini, where we have all of this impulsivity, all of this excitement, all of this enthusiasm, all of this aggression to just jump in and take charge. And so this is all going to be in opposition to this moon in Libra. And so, especially coming into this full moon, we are seeing a lot of things happen very quickly. And we're wanting a lot of things to happen very quickly in this space. Again, you're going to see the little growth that is starting to take place. And so this is an important transit here, especially to pay close attention to this impulsivity, to this desire to see things through quickly, for this desire to jump in and take action without thinking. This is important that you are grounding yourself because you're going to see these little goals pop up. But for those of you who are wanting to quickly get to the completion of all of these results that are taking place, this is not going to happen. And so it's important that those of you who are jumping in, who are wanting things to happen quickly, are able to slow down a little bit and bring yourself back into the present. And again, this is a huge part of this Mercury in Aries and this Mars in Gemini transit that are in mutual aspect, where we have all of this mental energy, all of this enthusiasm, all of this restlessness to jump in and make something happen quickly. It's important during this transit to slow things down, especially as this is a full moon in the Swati Nakshatra, which is very much about quickly getting those results, with Rahu being in control of this moon in Libra. But remember that this is in the Saturn para, where this is all about the slow progress. This is all about the discipline. This is all about taking your time, putting in all of the steps, thinking it through practically with this Saturn energy. And so, those of you who are trying to rush, those of you who are in this quick pace mindset of getting what you want right away, slowing this down, taking the time to see these little results that are happening, and realizing that that is taking you to where you need to be. So remaining present and continuing along this path that you're on that is giving you the results is highly important. The faith, keeping the faith with this ninth aspect of Jupiter is important. So let's go ahead and move forward here. And before we get into each of your charts and how this will play out for you individually, I pulled some cards for this full moon. This is from the Vedic Astrology deck. So, for those of you with a fire moon or ascendant, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, the cards that came up were Aquarius and the 11th house. The 11th house belongs to Aquarius originally. So this is highly connected again to this Rahu and Saturn influence of this full moon that we are entering into here on the 26th of April, where this is about your gains, your ambitions, what you want to see happen. And so it's very important that you're staying on your path, that you're staying towards this path, towards your goals, your ambitions. There is a restlessness to those of you with a fire sign. And so you want to slow this energy down a little bit and stay on course. For those of you with an earth, moon, or earth ascendant, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, the cards that came up were Uranus, the Mula Nakshatra, the Chitra Nakshatra, Rahu, Jupiter, Pushya Nakshatra, and Ketu. And so this is a heavy transit for those of you with an earth sign. This is where you can see a lot of unexpected results coming through. As far as your desires, as far as what you want to achieve, all of this is coming through in a huge way. Big thing that is coming up for those of you with an earth sign, though, is illusion and vision. Are you in the illusion that these things that you want are far out in front of you? And we talked a lot about this in the Mercury and Aries video and in the Mars and Gemini video. Are you in this illusion that you need to be chasing something that's far out of reach? Or can you bring your manifestations here into the present? This is all about your faith. This is all about the direction you're choosing to go in. This is all about what you are envisioning as far as your accomplishment. Your thought process is highly important to look at this point. With the Pushya Nakshatra in this, it is important to look deep within and to see what is it that you're nurturing? What is it that you are holding space for that serves you? And with Ketu here, along with Rahu, it's not only about striving for the goal, striving for the ambition, it's also about releasing, letting go of the expectation. Ketu, remember, is the planet of losses. It is the planet of liberation. Where are you too attached to these things? Again, with the Chitra Nakshatra in here, are you too attached to the idea or the facade of what you're trying to achieve that you're not holding space to even achieve what you are able to accomplish in this space. So it's very important that you're focusing on your intentions, that you're focusing on your vision, that you are leaving room for these things to come into your life, leaving space for the unexpected to happen with this Uranus energy. For those of you with an air moon or air ascendant, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, this is for you. And we have Mercury, the Shravana Nakshatra, Neptune, Uttarabhadra Nakshatra, the sixth house, Leo, Mishra Nakshatra, and the Ardra Nakshatra. And so this is a very important time to focus on your thoughts, your intentions. Listening to your intuition with the Shravana Nakshatra and with Neptune here, listening in on your wisdom, on your intuition of where you need to go. And so this is not only about what you're seeing externally, but also about how you are feeling and thinking internally and how this is adding to what you are manifesting, what you're working towards, and staying focused, staying on the path with the sixth house here and with Leo, taking that authority, taking that ownership of what you are trying to achieve is highly important. And we have the Mixture Nakshatra, again, the focus of staying on task, holding that intention, holding that space of moving towards what it is that you want to achieve. And so this is a mind-centered focus, and especially with the Ardra Nakshatra in here, focusing on your goals, focusing on what you're trying to achieve, making sure that you have all of the details, all of the clear intention of what it is that you are moving towards. For those of you with a water moon or water ascendant, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, we have the Magha Nakshatra, the 12th house, the Alesha Nakshatra, and Jupiter. So this is a huge time of spirituality, of going inward. And so for those of you who are trying to manifest things at this time with this full moon, this is actually not a time of physically pulling things out into existence. This is a time to go inward. This is a time to go inside of yourself and to tap into your inner strength, into your dreams, your imagination, to envision what it is that you want to pull through. So you have this inner work to do first before you're able to step out into the physical for those of you with a water moon or water ascendant. So let's go ahead and move into the cardinal signs. So for those of you who have an Aries ascendant or Aries moon, this is a full moon in your 7th house. This is very auspicious as the moon controls your 4th house. This is a time where you can manifest a lot. Remember that the 7th house is the reflection of your 1st house. And so there's a lot here that you can manifest and bring back out into your reality in terms of your intentions, in terms of your focus, where you are putting your energy at. You are going to manifest this big time throughout this transit. And with Jupiter's aspect from your 9th house, this is a huge time where your beliefs, where your positivity, where your thinking is highly impacting how this is all going to manifest and play out. Pay attention to your thoughts, pay attention to your words, pay attention to your vision of what you believe and how this is all going to manifest your results into reality. Saturn also giving the 10th aspect over to the moon. This is extreme in terms of moving you up the ranks towards your goals, towards your achievements. Remember, though, that Saturn is a slow moving planet. So, for those of you who are not quickly getting to the results with all of that activity in your 1st house, be careful about trying to rush into something. You will see little results of your progress, of how you are moving up, how you are moving forward towards your goals stay on track with this. For those of you with a Cancer moon or Cancer ascendant, this is a full moon in your fourth house. Very auspicious. The moon loves being in the fourth house, and the moon is your ruler. And so this is a huge time where you can find some inner peace and clarity on the things that you want to achieve. Again, the water signs are not necessarily here to manifest something externally. The moon in your fourth house giving its aspect over to all of this activity in your 10th house of career, you have this internal ability to think and ponder on the things that you want to achieve, the things that you want to pull out, and you can even gain some deep inspiration and some deep wisdom on how this is all going to manifest and play out. Jupiter giving its ninth aspect from your eighth house. This is an interesting placement. Jupiter is a very auspicious planet for those of you with a Cancer moon or Cancer ascendant, as it controls your ninth house. But as this sits in your eighth house, again, a lot of internal work that has to take place here, changing your vision, changing your thought, changing your way of seeing things, and these experiences that you can go through internally, emotionally, that can change your whole outlook and reality of how things will play out. So this is a huge time to go inward for self-reflection, for spiritual growth with this Jupiter 8th house activity. Saturn is also giving its 10th aspect from your 7th house. And so you may receive some advice or some mentorship from others as well. Whether you are in a business partnership, a romantic partnership, or you're simply dealing with other people, you may be receiving some wisdom or advice. Remember that Saturn is a very disciplined and authoritative planet where you can receive some knowledge as how to move up. Saturn knows how to move up the ranks. Remember that Saturn originally in the planetary cabinet is the peasant or the servant who moves up to a higher position. And so the discipline, the knowledge, the insight, the rationality that you need can strongly come through from the insight of other people. Saturn also controlling your 7th and 8th house. So this is huge. We're going internally, connecting with others. This can give you some great insight. For those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant, this is a full moon in your first house. Very auspicious. This is a time for you to level up in a big way, especially as the moon controls your 10th house of career. You can shine at this time and you can hold a high level of leadership and authority in your position. This is a huge time where career, where recognition, where your achievements are highly being impacted through the moon's influence. Jupiter is also giving its ninth aspect from your 5th house. Very auspicious placement. Jupiter is a difficult planet for those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant. But as Jupiter sits in your 5th house, the 5th house is a very auspicious place for Jupiter as it pulls in karmic return through this house. And so this is a time where you can achieve a lot through what you've learned, through what you've gained, through putting your skills out there. As you are expressing yourself, this gives you a great deal of gain and fortune as Jupiter is aspecting over to your 9th house, 11th house, and 1st house from that 5th house. This is a hugely auspicious placement for those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant. Saturn also giving its 10th aspect from your 4th house. Saturn is a very auspicious planet for Libra moon or Libra ascendant as it is controlling your 4th and 5th house. Saturn will be looking at your 1st house, giving you the discipline, giving you the ambition to go after your goals, to put the effort in. And so this will give you tremendous results for those of you who are following through on this, especially as Saturn gives its 3rd aspect over to your 6th house of work and responsibility. This is a huge time for growth and achievements. For those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, this is a full moon in your 10th house of career. This is great. The moon is a difficult planet for those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, as it controls your 7th house, a Marga house. But this gives you great results in terms of career and business. Want to be careful in relationships. Jupiter is giving its 9th aspect from your 2nd house, where there can be some family issues or disturbances that come up in this area. As you are speaking your beliefs, as you're voicing your opinions, you can run into some conflict with authority. Saturn is giving its 10th aspect over from your 1st house to this full moon. This is auspicious. Saturn being your ruler is giving you tremendous discipline and determination to go after your goals and achievements, especially as Saturn is controlling both your 1st and 2nd house. This gives you a tremendous drive towards your goals, towards your achievements, towards gaining wealth and security, and Saturn giving its aspect over to your 10th house of career and over to your 3rd house of your communication. You can make a huge impact with your skills and with your speech at this time. For those of you with a fixed sign, let's go ahead and start out for those with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant. So during this transit, there will be a full moon in your 6th house of work, of responsibility. This is very auspicious, as this is your 6th house, which is also ruled by your ruler, Venus. And so as the moon comes into your 6th house, this is very auspicious in terms of work, in terms of your routine, in terms of getting things done and accomplished. Remember that the moon is very powerful as it's in a full moon. And so even though this is the moon which fluctuates, it is at its fullest power and capacity in this 6th house, giving you a tremendous amount of energy and drive to go towards your goals and achievements. With this, the moon is a difficult planet for those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, as it controls your 3rd house. But remember that the 3rd house is an Upachaya house, one that grows with time. And so for those of you with the Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant especially, be aware that you're not going to see results right away with this activity. This is a slow growth, a slow build. And so stay focused, stay on task with this energy. Jupiter is giving its 9th aspect over from your 10th house. This is very auspicious as Jupiter has shifted forward into your 10th house of career and status. You can shine in a big way. Jupiter is a bit of a challenging planet for those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant. But remember that Jupiter is the most beneficial, and as it sits here in Aquarius, giving you some great results from this position. And so focusing on your task, staying on task, staying focused on that vision. Jupiter in the 10th house giving you a grand vision of what you want your status and your achievements to look like. Staying focused on that vision, staying focused on all of your goals at this time will help you in a big way. Saturn is also giving its 10th aspect over from your 9th house. This is very auspicious for those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, especially as Saturn controls your 9th house and your 10th house. You can see some growth in this area. Again, with Saturn here, it is a slow build. You can see slow growth over time. Make sure that you're sticking to it, staying focused, staying on task. You have all of this restless energy back in your 12th house, where those of you can stay up late, you can worry a lot internally, you can have these mental disturbances in terms of wanting to get these quick results. But stay focused, stay on task, find some peace internally so that you're staying grounded at this time. For those of you with the Leo moon or Leo ascendant, this is a full moon in your 3rd house. This is a huge time to use your communication skills to get towards your goals and achievements. Remember that this third house is a house of communication and skill sets. And this moon is all about negotiations, getting the deal across. So this is a very prominent position for the moon. And especially as Rahu is in your 10th house of career, you are highly ambitious at this time and using that to your influence to move towards this. Remember that Rahu is controlling the Swati Nakshatra, making a huge impact in on this. Using your skills, using your talents, using your intellect to get your way is huge at this time. Jupiter is giving its ninth aspect over from your seventh house. And so this is a huge time for business to bloom, especially for those of you who have a business partnership or you're working with others. You can see some growth and expansion in a huge way from this aspect of Jupiter and Aquarius. Jupiter does rule your fifth house, making it a very auspicious planet for those of you with a Leo moon or Leo ascendant, where you can see some major growth taking place here with this position. We're also seeing Saturn make its 10th aspect from your 6th house. Remember that the number 10 is connected to career, it is connected to achievements, your goals, your status, your recognition, and it is making this aspect from your 6th house of work and responsibility. This is very promising. Saturn is very happy to be in the 6th house, even though this is a very challenging planet for those of you with a Leo moon, Leo ascendant. Making sure that you're staying disciplined, staying focused, staying on task will serve you well in achieving your goals. Saturn from this position is blocking off all of the houses that give delay and disappointment, as it is aspecting over to that 8th house of crisis and the 12th house of expenditures. So this is a huge time where you can use your discipline, where you can use your energy to stay determined, stay focused, and you will receive long-term results through this. For those of you with a Scorpio moon, Scorpio ascendant, this is a full moon back in your 12th house of spirituality, of losses, of escapism, of foreign places, isolation. So this is a huge time for meditation, for going inward, for disconnecting, for envisioning what you want to achieve. Again, for the water signs specifically, this is a full moon that is not necessarily here to give you any sort of physical results. This is more of going inward and thinking of what you want to bring out into reality. So keep this in mind. You will see some results as we come to the full moon in Scorpio. So this will happen later. Right now, this is a time of going inward, doing the inner work. Jupiter is making its ninth aspect from your 4th house. Again, finding that space to go inward, to connect inward. And especially as this is Jupiter and Aquarius in the 4th house, research is huge. You may find yourself gathering a lot of information, self-reflecting, researching, looking inward, reflecting, and this can give you a tremendous amount of knowledge and wisdom to move you towards the next chapter. Saturn making its 10th aspect from your 3rd house over to this full moon in the 12th house. So you are ending something, you are coming to a completion. Remember that that 3rd house is a little bit difficult for those of you with a Scorpio moon or Scorpio ascendant. This is an Upachaya house, and with Saturn controlling your 4th house, giving you some delayed results in this area. But staying on task, staying focused, being able to push through the obstacles can get you to a huge point where you're releasing some old chapters, some old storylines that get you to a point of success as we come to this full moon in Scorpio in our next cycle. For those of you with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, this is a full moon in your ninth house. The moon is a very complicated planet for those of you with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant. But even still, this is in a very auspicious placement, and this is a full moon. It's in its fullest capacity, giving you some huge results. This is giving an aspect to your third house. Your communication, your intellect can take you far at this time. Saturn is giving its 10th aspect over from your 12th house. So you can receive some gain, you can receive some recognition and accomplishment by releasing, by letting go of what no longer serves you. This is a huge topic that we talked about for a while now for those of you with a Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, this releasing, this letting go of taking you towards a new chapter. This full moon getting an aspect from Jupiter in your first house. Hugely auspicious. Jupiter from that first house is covering all of your Trikona houses. So this is a time where you can see some growth, some improvement. You can see some auspicious results coming through as Jupiter is blocking off these houses that deal with karmic return. So this can give you some good results as you're growing, as you are gaining knowledge, as you are expanding yourself. Let's go ahead and move on to the mutable signs. So for those of you with a Gemini moon or Gemini ascendant, this is a full moon in your fifth house. Very auspicious. You want to be careful though with the moon being your second house lord. Those of you can experience some fluctuations in your eating, in your wealth, in your security. There can be a lot of changing and moving happening. But as this is a full moon that is very auspicious in your fifth house, this can give you some great results in terms of your creativity, in terms of your self-expression. Again, the moon is controlling your second house of speech. So your speech can make a huge impact in your career, in your goals, and your ambitions, especially as this is aspecting over to your 11th house of your higher goals and ambitions. So this is a huge time for using your creativity, for using your imagination, for using your ideas to make some big things happen. Jupiter is giving its aspect over from your ninth house, very auspicious, as Jupiter feels at home in the ninth house, and very auspicious for you being in the sign of Aquarius, which is a very fortunate sign for those of you with a Gemini moon or Gemini ascendant. This is giving its ninth aspect where you can receive some great results in terms of your wisdom and knowledge. And you may receive some wisdom from your elders at this time to help you in your creative endeavors. Saturn is giving its 10th aspect over to your full moon in the fifth house. This is auspicious also. Saturn is an auspicious planet for those of you with a Gemini moon or Gemini ascendant. As it's in the eighth house, Saturn actually gives good results in the eighth house, and it is giving its 10th aspect. Remember, 10 is connected to career, to ambition, to recognition, to your status. And so as Saturn sits here in the eighth house, giving you a little bit more stability at this time for you to achieve the things that you want to set out to do as Saturn is slowing down this eighth house of crisis. For those of you with a Virgo moon or Virgo ascendant, this is a full moon in your second house. This is a huge time where you can receive some wealth and prosperity through others, as this is finding its completion in the opposition over to your eighth house, where we have all of this restless energy. You're finding closure in these sudden events that can take place here. So this can support you well coming into this full moon. It is receiving a ninth aspect over from your sixth house of work and responsibilities. This is a huge time where your efforts, your problem solving skills have a huge effect, where again you can find this closure happening. This Saturn giving its 10th aspect from your fifth house. This is giving you huge results. Saturn which rules originally that 11th house, is aspecting over to the 11th house. This is going to give you phenomenal results in terms of your business, especially for those of you who are working in business partnerships, as your 7th house receives a third aspect from Saturn. This is a huge time of you leveling up in your career. Jupiter also giving that fifth aspect to your 10th house. And so, using your skills, using your problem solving skills, using your ability to work out any sort of obstacles at this time takes you to a higher position where you can see some important closure and stability that you've been looking for. For those of you with the Sagittarius Moon or Sagittarius Ascendant, this is a full moon in your 11th house. And so this is hugely auspicious. The moon is always auspicious in that 11th house. The moon is a little bit of a difficult planet as it controls your 8th house, where you can have some mood swings, but you want to pay close attention to your thought process. Are you in a positive mindset? This is going to strongly impact you with the moon in the 8th. Your mindset and your way of dealing with sudden events and situations can strongly impact the success that you receive at this time. This is an area where you can see some sudden shifts and ups and downs happening in your career. But for the most part, this full moon being in its full power and capacity is here to give you some good results. Jupiter is giving its ninth aspect over from your third house of communication. So, using your communications, using your logical skills to work out issues and come to proper solutions can help you tremendously in leveling up. Your communication alone can solve any sort of difficulties or problems at this time that can come up. And so, using your knowledge, using your communication skills can strongly take effect. Saturn is giving its 10th aspect over from your second house. This is a very auspicious placement over to this 11th house, where again, staying disciplined, staying focused, staying on task can give you some huge results in terms of your success. You want to be careful though that second house is a house of rational thinking, and Saturn is the karka for fear. So, what is your mindset? What is your thought process at this time? Paying close attention to how that can affect you, especially as the moon represents the mind. So, this is highly important for those of you with the Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant. For those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant, this is a full moon happening in your 8th house. Very interesting one. This is a time where a lot of you can find some success in your spiritual growth and process within. Remember that this 8th house is a moksha house, where this is all about your spiritual progress, your liberation. And so, once again, for the water signs, this is not typically primarily going to be about external factors. This is an internal influence as the moon is lighting up these houses. This 8th house is a house of transformation. And so there's a lot of internal change that can take place here for those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant. Also, keep in mind that the moon is controlling your 5th house. And so you can learn a lot through this transit of going through these internal experiences and processes. Jupiter is giving its ninth aspect over from your 12th house. Again, this is a very spiritual time for those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant. Looking inward, tapping inward. This can be a time of meditation, of self reflection, where this can hugely benefit you and give you a tremendous amount of insight and wisdom as Jupiter makes its ninth aspect. Saturn giving a 10th aspect over from your 11th house over to this moon in the 8th house. This can potentially be a time where you can gain some physical wealth and some recognition, but this is very slow moving. This is a long, drawn out process that is dependent upon your internal growth and transformation. So, this has been your horoscope on the full moon in Libra in the Swati Nakshatra happening on April 26th of 2021. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell. If you have any additional thoughts or questions that you'd like to add on this full moon, or if you have anything that you want me to bring up in a future video on Vedic astrology, just leave it down below in the comments. If you are interested in learning more on Vedic astrology, there is a course available in the Facebook group Astrology Lessons with Daquan Jones. There's a link down below in the description along with the comments. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for joining.